Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Molly and this is my husband Dylan.
We've been together for nearly 11 years, and 3 years ago, we actually got married and bought our first home.
Ever since then, we have been prioritizing a more simple life, being more self-sufficient, and recently started building our homestead.
And now we're starting our biggest and greatest project to date. But before we announce what it actually is, we're going to take a look back in time over the last 3 years.
At the end of 2020, Dylan and I were on the hunt to purchase our first home. We came across this home probably on Zillow, and within 30 minutes of it being posted, we already had a showing set up. Because this was such an interesting looking house, it had us hooked already, and even better, it was on 5 acres. I am standing in our brand new kitchen. The house had some updates with a new roof, new flooring in the kitchen and living room. It was freshly painted and had new carpet. It was pretty much everything we were looking for. We wanted something that was clean, but also that could use some updating, so we could first off afford it, but also so we could renovate as we went and customize this home for us. The property was also something we saw huge potential in. A few months before we bought, we had one of the worst hurricanes come through our area in a very long time.
Yeah, it's just so much.
So the property was a hot mess. Naturally, right after closing, we went straight to the trees surrounding the house and took them all out. Any pine tree that was close enough to hit our house, we cut down. This was fun and exciting until there was a gigantic hole in our backyard with the most stubborn stump. Eventually, we had to leave the stump in the hole, cover it up, and cross our fingers that we don't come across something like that ever again. Luckily enough though, during this time we bought a tractor that would come in handy for the rest of the property projects that we had in mind. Our first home project was expanding our back patio and adding a privacy fence off to the side. By adding some pea gravel, this gave us ample amount of outdoor living space that we enjoy throughout the year. I even got to plant my first veggie garden that didn't last at all. I've matured and grown since then, so hopefully the new garden that we will be building soon will outlast this one. If you hate the color of our brick and turquoise as much as I do, good, because I did too, and that's why our next home project was to paint the house. We chose the color alabaster from Sherwin-Williams for the brick and Broadway from Behr for the doors. This whole process took, I believe, 2 days to do 2 coats of paint. And I realized painting brick is controversial, but just make sure you're using a brick paint. We used the brick masonry and stucco paint from Home Depot, and after almost 3 years, it's holding up very, very well. A few weeks later, we started fixing up the front entry area. Dylan poured more pea gravel into the space between the sidewalk and the house. It was already hard to get our lawnmower in this area, so filling it up with rock did just the trick. He also poured this huge concrete paver so that we could add some chairs here and fill the space a bit better than what it was before. The elephant ears I found on the property and transplanted a few around the corners on the house, and those filled up the space well too when they grew a bit bigger. I have had to pull some out since then because they got too big, and I honestly don't like the look of them anymore. But that was an easy change. At this point, our shop was still at Dylan's parents' house because we don't have a garage here, we have a carport. We always knew that if we wanted to bring the shop here, we were going to have to close this in, so we threw up a huge wall, garage door, and added a window and an entry door. We of course painted everything white, and in a week or so, we could move our entire shop over. This was a surreal feeling for us. We finally have our shop and our business at our own home, and we were thrilled to be able to work from home. After all the home projects, we wanted to get back to the property. We started extending our immediate backyard and found the previous owner's burn and junk pile. We uncovered these beautiful oak trees that you could barely even see before. We shishugibon some stumps for stools around the fire pit area and strung some lights to add to the ambiance of the space. Time for another outdoor break and move to the inside. We renovated our dining room, and this was the first and only room we've done in the house so far. Just by adding a few fixed things, it really adds so much character and changes the entire feeling of a room. The beams were scribed perfectly to the ceiling so that they would look as real as possible, and they also added a ton of depth to the room. Thin floating shelves were something that I really wanted, and Dylan did a great job of figuring that out, and we have had no issues with these at all. The next thing we did was put gravel all around the house and planted some really pretty plants on the back of our house.
I'm done.
This was something we did mainly for water drainage, but also we didn't want a high maintenance border surrounding the house with actual flower beds and mulch or pine straw, and honestly, this was my favorite look. The property is just something that will always have maintenance, and we intend to really clear it when we can. But to help with that, we bought a lane shark that goes on the front of the tractor, and it is great at cutting it down tree saplings, maintaining branches from roads, and so much more. We mainly cleared the back of our property with that, but we'll for sure need some more cleanup to get it where we want. Dylan decided to surprise me and clear the front of the property while I was away on a trip, and I couldn't believe all the work he got done, and the front looks a million times better now.
Oh my, you can see our house from here.
The sawmill is a long story. We bought this exact one a year prior to this and ended up canceling it because we had buyer's remorse. Obviously, we ended up pulling the trigger a second time, and we have never looked back. We have really put the mill to use over the last few months, milling up a ton of boards for our current project. We are converting our 40-foot shipping container into an off-grid workshop because we are running out of room in our current shop. And this leads us to our next major project. We are having a baby. So that is our big news, and we are so excited. Over the last few videos, you might have noticed a little subtle hints, like the last video had a little ginger chew-in because I've been so sick, and also I've been sitting down in the background of some others because I've also been sick and tired.
Yeah, honestly guys, this is probably the longest we could wait to tell you before there would be very noticeable signs in videos going forward, because unfortunately Molly's been dealing with a little bit of, symptoms, pregnancy symptoms that haven't been a whole lot of fun. So if you will, leave a comment for her down below, because all this stuff that you've seen her doing over the last couple months or so, she's been doing while pregnant and dealing with some not super fun symptoms. So
crossing my fingers it doesn't last too much longer.
I know. Bless her heart. But over the last 3 years, all this stuff that we've done, buying this house, doing all the projects that we've done, has all sort of been around this idea that we want to start a family. We have known forever since we met that we wanted to have a family, and this was like the dream setup to start a family. So that's really what we've been doing for a long time on this channel, is setting ourselves up to hopefully start a family, and thankfully we are. It's for many of our friends and family, and probably for many of you, most of them are saying it's about time.
Right.
However, for us, this couldn't be a more perfect moment in time to start a family. It's and we've been so incredibly blessed that things have just continually worked out in our favor, and yeah, we're starting a family.
And we get to start them here.
It's gonna be crazy to have a little one running around out here, following us around, doing projects and stuff.
I can't wait.
This is really genuinely a dream come true for Molly and I. Now, unfortunately, we can't share any amazing videos of telling our friends and family or finding out that Molly was pregnant, because unfortunately we found out when I was actually at the hospital with my dad. He unfortunately has been battling cancer, but just to give y'all a bit of an update, he's doing very well, and we have really high hopes for the future. However, I was literally in the hospital with him while he was having surgery, and the crazy thing is the moment that we found out that he was okay, we also found out that Molly was pregnant.
Yep.
And so it has been a real blessing, not only for us, but for the rest of our family, to have a much happier thing to be able to focus around and on.
Yeah, and also we're just bad YouTubers, not filming anything.
Very personal moments, and at personal and vulnerable times in our lives, and we've decided to keep those to ourselves. It's an incredible honor and blessing that Molly and I get to spend basically every single day together doing something that we love at home, and starting a family in that environment is a dream come true. And that's thanks to you guys. And we just wanted to say thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts for all of you who have followed us from 2016 till now, through all the various different seasons of this channel to where it is today. We just want to say we genuinely appreciate it.
We have no idea how we're going to navigate this, but we're just going to work it out kind of as we go along. But we are super excited to share this whole new journey with you guys. So we want to say thank you guys so much for all of your support, and we will see you in the next video.
Peace.